Hey, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thank you so much for joining me on the late one tonight. And of course, you can see the results. Boris Johnson won 211, no 148, majority of 63. So the Prime Minister's won. And tonight we're going to have the reactions. Let's just go straight at it. Sharika, are you there? Want? I can't hear you.
Yes, yes, yes. Boris is the prime minister. He remains the prime minister.
You seem happy. Are you happy about that, Sharika?
I'm happy about that in the sense of loyalty, in the sense of just kind of sticking through it and just
Yes.
not being almost cutting the head off the snake. Just, I like it for those reasons only. What are your thoughts on the matter?
Well, in a way, as people know that I'm a conservative, which I don't hide really, I was thinking to myself that I would like for him to win and then to go through the process properly. If there's going to be a leadership, to do it properly, not this off the cuff thing. Um, so but let's see. I'm just trying to get some reactions here, and I'm looking at the online. Let me see if I can bring in David. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Fantastic. Good evening. And I don't know if I think we're on time, isn't it? We said we said we're gonna start by 9 o'clock, and we start at 9 o'clock, and the results are there: 211 yes to Boris and no 148, majority of 63. Let me see if I can. And 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 ladies and gentlemen, what I'm doing tonight, I'm going actually live on Instagram, as you can see, live on Instagram, live on Facebook, live on YouTube as well, and hoping that others may join. But for now, Sir David, what's Reverend David? What's your initial reaction? Can you hear me, Sir David?
Oh, David.
No, Reverend David. Yeah, Reverend David Adiola. Yes.
Oh, wow. My initial reaction, is like, I mean, I wanted him to win,
Yes.
but it was like I just didn't quite that feeling of just euphoria and just jumping up because I just have the sense that these guys are not going to rest. They're not going to allow him to do what he needs to do. But I probably want to just appeal to them to let's see what's going to happen within the next 1 year because they can't trigger another one for a year. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that there's some things that he has learned from. There's some things that we can start to get bored with, especially the things that he was voted in for. So
Yes.
my thought, if he is able to do this within the next 1 year, sort out the Northern Protocol, the North Island protocols, sort out all these taxes, and then of course, the immigration problem. If he's able to tackle that within the next 9 months, I see him really.
Right. Um, and I mean, in light of this win, what do you see as for Britain at this time? It's like it's time for people to just settle down.
Well, I think they have. I was listening to a radio station, and I think they've undermined everything that's going on. It's not just about the vote of no confidence. This is all part of the UK strategy to kind of rebuild Britain in the confidence of people within Britain. So that's putting on a jubilee, showing you that we've acknowledged the failings of the Prime Minister and we will do something about it. They're almost saying they're almost taking accountability in some sense. So for me, I don't see Boris continuing as Prime Minister for another time. But I do see I do see, Britain rebranding themselves as, something to be reckoned with. And like I said to you, Silburn, before, I hope
Can I
this.
stop you there for a second? David, David, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear a stuttering sound when Sharika is talking?
Yes, I can hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, Sharika,
Oh.
we're hearing some like electricity spark, like Boris Johnson is excited and he's having
Oh
some spark by
no,
you.
I don't have any equipment on. I've turned them all off. So the
No,
iPad
no,
is
no, 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 no. It's like a static sound coming through while you're talking, in between your
Oh,
like some static sound. Keep
oh.
talking, keep talking. Let me hear.
Well, I was just suggesting, that this is
Okay,
all part
okay.
of.
I'm gonna stop you there, Sharika. I'm gonna ask you to go out and come back in. Yes.
Okay, sure. I'll leave the chat now.
Yeah. Cheers. Yes, sir, David. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, well, for me, I think I there will still be a lot of rebellion going on, and that to me would be expected. But I think this vote of confidence is very good in a way. I think it draws the line in a way because he was living a life of like, I'm not sure, I'm sure, would they do it, would they do it, and then suddenly it's been done now. And frankly, I would imagine that they might actually get some sympathy from the public because really,
Right.
okay, it's much better now.
Yes.
So what this is all about is because one of the two things that Sharika said was the fact that there was more to what is going on in the nation than just Boris, really. There was a focus on him because of what happened. But I believe, to a large extent, I mean, whether that's real or not, I think he's apologized to the nation a couple of times. He's apologized.
Not a couple. It's like 70 times 7.
Absolutely. So I don't know why, well, I think it was what's his name? It was the Archbishop that was talking about the fact that we are not a very forgiving nation. I said, oh, ouch. So I think one of the things is come out responsibilities. Things have been done in a way that it could bring about a significant change.
Yes.
And I think if someone has been shaking this, I want to believe that it's going to have to learn to focus on what's the real thing that he needs to care about.
Do you think, Sharika, do you think that there were, it went beyond Partygate? Oh, Sharika just disappeared again. You're there, David, yes?
Yes, okay. I think it did. I think it went beyond.
It went beyond Partygate, wasn't it?
It went beyond Partygate. There were people that were waiting on the. There were remainers actually that were actually waiting on the wings, and the Partygate was the stepping stone for them. There were some personal issues. The Steve Baker of this world who have not been given the competition. And of them, Jeremy Onto was removed from Tobias Elwood. All those guys, they had their issues with Boris going forward. And I think it would be nice to know who voted for him, because I'll be surprised because I didn't see Theresa May's name on either for or against. So it would be interesting to know those people that actually, apart from those that spoke out publicly, it would be nice to know those that acted for him. But I think to a large extent, I think I'm just inclined to believe that I think he's learned a lesson for this. He's going to take it for granted. That's my opinion.
Yeah, Sharika, the question I put before you disappeared was, do you think it went the Partygate and there were like some personal vendetta in this or something like that?
Absolutely, it became personal, and I think what was the threat that was being thrown in the air was that there might be a a quick election, or they might call an election quickly to kind of put it to the people, because it felt as if, are you still hearing me okay, or am I
Perfect.
stuttering?
Oh, it's
Perfect.
brilliant
Perfect.
now.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, because it felt personal. And I think what you said, Sir David, was, it would be interesting to know. I think sometimes it's best not to know. They do have to still carry on working. And sometimes that there's snakes in the grass, so you just carry on working carefully. So sometimes it's best not to know, because then it becomes very personal. So it's good to kind of maneuver your way, not have any emotion, not have anything personal in when you're running a government, and just kind of crack on with the job. So it's best that some people do kind of keep that anonymity, so that there could be some level of strength, so that the government can have hope in the people that are working around them, whether it's false hope or not. So that's my view on it. I feel as if it is a shake-up, like you said. He will
Yeah.
not take this for granted, like you said as well. But I feel what I was saying before is all part of the great rebrand. I think that this is somebody threw it out there when I was listening to some conversations before, that was this strategic. And I think it is somewhat strategic, having the Jubilee, having now a vote of no confidence for a prime minister that had kind of played the buffoon role. I think now is the great rebrand of Great Britain. And that's just part of my views on the matter. I don't know, what are your thoughts, Silburn?
It is very interesting, though, I must say. It is very interesting, I must say, that I'm in two minds now, because I was saying that he should take his time and leave, like get this good breather and go through a process of transition. And I'm just thinking to myself that maybe that is not correct. He should just go all the way.
Go all the way.
Go all the
Never let
way and
somebody
just
go all the
do the
way.
best that he can.
Yeah, show your strength as a leader. You are going to have a lot of enemies when you put yourself on the top. Show yourself as the leader. Show that you can handle the criticism, the hate, and all these kind of things around you, and push forward to the end. Don't quit halfway. Don't let this get to you. Don't make it personal. Push on through. And that's kind of the leadership we would love to see, that you can push on through and play a fair game.
Yeah, I believe what Sherika said there was quite not only significant. I think it's actually has a spiritual connection why this is happening now, and I believe it's a season of not necessarily if guys forgave him. It's not about that. It's about the fact that maybe God has actually given him a life to now focus and do exactly what. So I believe this happening in itself was very, very interesting. I would imagine they would have actually waited for the Jubilee celebration to finish before they did this. But sometimes,
Exactly.
but sometimes God does something that he has to be inside of this celebration. And if we know all the connotation of what Jubilee means, I have a sense that I want to encourage him to really go for it, and don't take anything personal. Like Sheriff said, just focus on what you're supposed to. Be gracious to everyone, even those that didn't vote for you. I mean, some made it public, some didn't, but I want, that's very significant, Sheriff. That's a very good point there.
And the other thing also I was thinking is that it's such a pity that it wasn't done. Well, what if Sturmer gets caught with a ticket? What will he do? Remember I said if he gets a ticket for the party gate that he did, because he had a party gate as well. Will he step down?
Well, he said he's going to step down.
Yeah.
That's what he said. I want to believe that he's likely to get that ticket because they have sent him forms. The police have sent him forms to fill and to continue with the investigation. I have a good sense that he's actually going to get that ticket, and the whole of the UK is waiting for him.
A lot of people say things when they see a leader, what they want you to be is polished. They want you to follow the rules. They want you to be an exemplar. And a lot of people say things, if I was this, I would have done that. But the truth of the matter is you don't really know unless you're in that position. So a lot of
Yeah.
people do that to break his spirit, to say, you know what, you should be perfect. You should be an example, you should be, militant. But we all know that, number one, the UK culture is not of militancy. If this was the US, maybe, but in the UK culture, they prefer the underdog, they prefer the buffoon, they prefer the not so perfect candidates, but they love to pretend that they don't. So it's a case of confusion. You then put that person in a limbo, in a state of confusion. And Boris has lived in his truth. He's not wallowed. He's not fled, because he knows that this is just what it is. So for me, I think something else would happen. I don't think he's gonna just stop here. I personally think that he will call an election and let the people vote. I think that's coming next. My personal view, we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think he will call an emergency general election just
You
to
think so?
kind of. I do secretly. My spirit is telling me, but maybe my spirit is wrong. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I've also been right before. So let's see how this plays out. Obviously.
I like to put that succinctly. What you said there, they'll say a pair of safe hands.
Yes, yes.
It's a pair of safe hands, whatever
Yeah.
that means with the British.
Yeah.
But if we reflect on the figures, okay, let's look at the figures here. It says 359 MPs we got, yes? Sorry, Conservative MPs. He got 211
Wow.
voted for him, right? 211. So he got more than half right there, you know? 148 voted for that there. What do you think that figure is actually saying? Because
It's not as
let me go back because history has shown that when Margaret Thatcher won, actually the figure was very low and it was a bit of a tie.
It was 79, I think.
Yeah, and they said and they said she should go again, and they said it is best that you go, or do you want us to open the envelope and let you see? And I think the envelope is still sealed. Theresa May also, she won, but eventually they hounded her. But for Theresa May, I keep hearing these guys. For Theresa May, the issue she had was that she was a Remainer trying to get Brexit done. And that was the issue with her. So it wasn't because of it was clearly around the Brexit. And Boris came in and he delivered on Brexit. That was the difference, I believe, with Theresa May at the time. Because it's like she wasn't able to get past that earlier. But what do you think this is actually saying now? What is a country should be reading from this? Are they going to, oh, here we go again? We have to try again to get him out. These guys are lame ducks. They are weak. These conservative guys. They still have him there.
If I may, I think the best card Boris would play right now is to call a general election. However, David Cameron did that, and you saw what happened to him. Everybody was like, no, actually he called a referendum and then realized that the people were against him. So what could happen with Boris is that he could call a general election and then realize that actually we do want you out. The majority will speak. But I think that would be the best way to exit your role as prime minister, not to be voted out by people who you work with and who you might see at the coffee table. That is a bit of a sore spot. So I feel like in order for it to kind of like be done delicately, I think he should say, guys, I'm going to call a general election. Let's see what happens. May the best man win. And that would really, I wish I could advise him to do that, because that would really change the entire mood atmosphere for him not to be messed with. So those who wanted his job can hurry up and scramble their memorandums, scramble their policies, and he can just sit there and watch them all fight for it, like dogs. But I think that's what the best thing he should do.
What do you say about that, David?
Well, I think there's a lot of strength in this number. this number is not. They shouldn't be. We shouldn't look at it from just a very lame point of view, because that number speaks something. It speaks volume. What they were expecting, because I heard Jacob Rees-Mogg earlier this evening, where someone was challenging the fact that what if he won by just one vote, which means 181, and Jacob Rees-Mogg said, yes, that's a win. Whether you win by one or you win by two, it is still a win. And Tobias, when he was the next person they actually called and chased after before he entered the parliament, he said, no, Jacob Rees-Mogg is wrong. And the guy said, no, I'm not wrong. If you win by one vote, you win by one vote. It's still a win. But this is not one vote now anymore. It is not even 181. We're talking about 211. That's almost 30 or 40 votes more than expected. And I think it is good for him. And like Sharon said, maybe he needs to just take the bull by the horn and actually call an election, within the next couple of months. And let's go for it.
You think, isn't that what they were running away from? Isn't that one of the discussions and the argument that the persons who supported the prime minister were saying, in light of what is happening in Ukraine, in light of the fact that we just came out of COVID, in light of the fact that we have this massive high level of inflation where people are suffering, they were saying it's a time for a level of stability. The prime minister will deliver. And they said a party coming together and pulling together will work wonders than being divided. If we go down the route of an election, isn't that going to defy the whole process?
I think to a large extent, even if it was not going to have that election, I think it's something I should just throw it out there as if it's going to happen. Let them scramble, let them scramble, let them go all over the place. But if you can spend the next 6 months, and I believe within the next 1 month, it's going to shut down that Northern Protocol. It's going to tear it up, because legally, you can do that. We have all this media talking about all these, they have their narratives, but legally, you can actually tear it up, and it's not breaking any international law or anything. I mean, it's been said already. If it's triggered article, I don't know what's in the article. I've had too many articles now. If it triggers it, then that thing is null and void. And it's been written down that if they don't agree, if they don't come to an agreement, and how long does the EU want him to be negotiated whereby the Northern Ireland shelves are empty of food? How long? You've been negotiating, and you're not going forward, actually, because they have stated that they're not going to move on that, and they will not do anything. And yes, they say, Britain is not willing to negotiate. But I believe, I think it's stronger more now, even though there will be all those snakes around him. Yes, they are snakes, because, I mean, the one that shocked me most was Steve Baker, because I thought he was really someone that was backing him, and suddenly, even in the House of Commons, openly, in the question time, actually challenging and calling to question the integrity of his prime minister in the same party. And the Labour would not do that to each other. And I think it was something that he could have actually settled privately. But he went out there, and there were 2 or 3 of them that did that. And for me, it was like they took it too far. But now I think.
Okay, Sharika, you finished while David said. Now
well,
you think.
I didn't.
David? Okay.
That's my call.
I mean, you're saying good things about Boris, so I don't think he would have shut you down. So you keep talking. Sharika.
The thing is, there is always there's gonna be a shake-up anyway, because people have resigned their posts. So
can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes.
The people have left their posts, which means that there's posts to be filled. There's still those who haven't revealed their true feelings on the matter and might feel some type of way now that he's back. So there is going to be a shake up anyway. So I do feel as if It's going to kind of shake things up a little bit, which is good.
Mm.
But in terms of what you said, Silburn, with stability, we do need stability, but
Yes.
we also need a little bit of change. Things are
Yeah.
getting out of control. Things are getting out of control for everybody all over the world. But whenever you're in a government and whenever you're in a country like the UK,
Mm.
you shouldn't feel the impact so much.
So when you say change, if there's an election, what are you expecting? Boris to come back and remain?
I don't think Boris will remain, but what it will do is show the other candidates, what have you got then? Since you hate everything I've done, I've got you out of Brexit, you show me what you can bring to the table. You give the people of the UK more hope. Tell us what you can bring differently to the table.
Yes.
And what that does, it might build confidence in Boris, because sometimes you may not show your true strength because you act, silly, but behind the scenes he probably does lay the law down and he probably does put his fist down. So I guess what that will do is kind of reinforce confidence within the public. If these other candidates are not able to deliver exceedingly more than Boris is already delivering, it gets a chance for us to see what everybody else has got.
I've always seen. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Reverend Gary Grant.
Reverend Gary, how I've missed you. How are you, sir?
Oh, Sharika.
Virtual hug. Virtual hug.
Virtual. How's
Everybody seems to be happy. Reverend Gary Graham, Reverend David Adiola.
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you, Dave. Yes, good to see you.
Just to let you know, I'm also on TikTok here. I've got people on TikTok as well. Hi, guys, on TikTok.
Hi, TikTok.
Where are you from? Where are you guys from? Where are you from? England. Oh, did you vote? Did you like the outcome of the results? You said no. No. What you wanted? What you had wanted? You don't know. You must know something. And I'm on a live here at the same time while you guys in the background. It's on Silburn TV on YouTube. If you want to go on to watch it on YouTube as well, SYLBOURNE TV. Yeah. So you can listen at the same time. So Gary, welcome. I mean, what's your take on the results? Because you wanted Boris out, innit?
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, I am a diehard true blue, like what Silburn there is wearing. I mean, I would stand with Silburn. If I was in London, I would vote for Silburn any day.
You know what this is?
You know,
my conservative membership.
Your membership form, all right. But I think that Boris has done us a disservice. I don't think what he has done, he's misled us. How many? Okay, put it this way. Probably I don't put myself in the Prime Minister's office, Dave and Sharika and Silborn. But if I stood with you to some extent and told you, let's say something in comparison to what Boris said, and then later on, I've got a responsible position amongst you guys.
He's pointing at you. He's pointing at you. That's not. He's pointing at you.
Well, he's not pointing at me, you know. He's probably got eyes looking somewhere else. Look at us. But just suppose. Yes, I did something in comparison to what Boris has done to you guys. Would you want me to stay in the same position of trust? Would you want me to represent you, knowing that I have misled you, I have told you not to do certain things, but yet you find out that I have done exactly the opposite. I have spoken, I've told lies, I've misled you. Would you want me to stay in that same position?
Well, Reverend Gary, then you shouldn't trust your doctors who have told you to eat well and eat healthily when some of them are overweight and obese. You shouldn't trust your teachers, which some of them have told you to study certain subjects that they themselves are not that equipped knowing. You shouldn't trust your nurses who told you not to smoke, and some of them are smoking on their break because it's bad for your lung, and you should have safe sex when most of the people are not. You shouldn't trust loads of people. You shouldn't trust the people who are cooking your meals.
No,
That's
but
telling you.
but Boris, no, but Boris is in a, is he's holding high office. He's holding high office. He has told the Queen. The Queen has followed every rule that he has laid down, only to find out on the very same day that she's laying her husband to rest. He's there having a good chinwag and drink, having parties when most of us haven't. And then what really takes the cake at times is that some of these people, especially like students, probably up north, they were fined. They had to pay their hundreds of pounds probably, and yet he was only charged £50. I mean, where is the justice in all of that, Sharika? Can you answer, please?
I can answer if you don't mind, and I'll be very, very quick on this and answer. Just to say, well, if you're going to dismiss his leadership on one error, then it says more about how we are as a people to judge somebody when they do one mistake compared to all the other things that he's done. So if you truly were somebody who trusted and respected him as a leader, you remember all the 100 good things instead of the one bad thing. We love to do this. We love to remember the one bad thing somebody did instead of the 100 good things that they've done. That's
Okay, what are the good things he has done? Not that I'm not questioning it. I just want you to list something.
Yeah, sure. Well, anyone can answer, guys. What do you guys think? I mean, for me, I'm not the biggest Boris supporter. I'm not like
No.
for Boris. But go ahead, Reverend David.
Yeah. I mean, we one of the things that we have gone through that even I mean, almost similar to World War is the pandemic. That pandemic, the way they handled the pandemic. I mean, if we were still in the EU, we would have so many deaths. And for us to be able to actually empower AstraZeneca to be able to develop and then have those vaccines ready when it's needed, that is leadership, because they gave a lot of money to Oxford to do this research and get this out, which they did on record time.
Wait. Reverend David, are you pro-Brexit?
I'm pro-Brexit.
Oh my God, we're not on the same page.
If we were in the EU, we would still be waiting for the 27 to agree on the kind of vaccination. You're going to wait forever, because even when we had the vaccination, Macron went on live worldwide to say AstraZeneca was not good. People were dying in France. And until the Prime Minister himself of France now went to go and take that vaccination publicly. And that's when he approved it. Yeah. So if we talk about that in itself, it's something that Boris did. If we talk about Brexit, it's something that he did. If we talk about, there are quite a lot of things that he has, even Ukraine. If this man did not step in at certain times, which he did, he has his fault. By no means, like you, I'm not his greatest fan. I mean, his morality and everything, I do not share that at all. But from what the Gary said, those are things that I can list that he has been able to do in the last
those are not the best
examples.
Those, David, with all due respect, those are not the best responses, I'm afraid.
Well, the interesting thing though is that a lot of opinions or views about Boris is one thing, but one of the things that Boris keeps saying is that he wants to get the job done, and he keeps using that terminology, let's get Brexit done. there's a point that David did touch on was waiting for the 27. And if we were waiting for the 27, Boris wouldn't have been taking some leading steps in regards to Ukraine as well.
Yeah.
Because right now, Boris has done a lot there. Now, I just want to point out that some of the comments coming through on Instagram, and this is being said a lot now, even from Jamaica. Boris has done worse than Thatcher, Major and May. He should do the right thing and walk away after losing 41% of MPs tonight. 20 plus parties in time, like the pandemic, and is one error. Awadu Sharika, Boris broke his own laws. That's what somebody said. I think though, and listening and reading some of the views from even like Ed David, who is the leader for the Lib Dem, he said,
Okay.
what he said is that Boris Johnson, he said conservative MPs are now fully responsible for the Prime Minister's behavior. They have narrowly voted to keep a lawbreaker and a liar in number 10. Sir Roger Gale, who voted to remove the PM, says the result is very bad indeed for Johnson. He hadn't expected more than a third of the parliamentary party to express no confidence in the Prime Minister says. The veteran MP said he would be very surprised if the PM was still in the post by autumn. And then the SNP, of course, their position as well. Tory MPs have just drawn a line on the Boris Johnson disastrous time as Prime Minister, but instead they have bottled it, allowing the damaged circus to continue and leaving the Westminster government in crisis. Do you think, Gary, guys, that the circus will still be going on? The whole, you remember with Theresa May, it kept going on and kept going on, even though it was Brexit. Let's be specific. It was Brexit. Boris Johnson, since he became Prime Minister, has not even had a honeymoon period because Brexit came in right there. David, you and I, we can say it from public record, we were in Westminster the night of Brexit. we were there drinking champagne. Well, we didn't drink champagne literally, you know what I mean? In Westminster. And then all of a sudden, after that, COVID came in and everything just went down from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, go on. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Was that Gary? Do you want to say something?
Not really. I was just a bit surprised of Sharika's outrage that you supported Brexit. I mean, my head is just in a spin.
Well, Brexit is quite the bigger economic picture on Brexit is just beyond why me. And you were saying about Ukraine, and every time somebody brings up, oh, but he helped Ukraine, I think of Palestine and I think of Nigeria and I think of all the other countries that would have loved some aid, loved some support, that are part of the Commonwealth. It's not that we're not a part of the Commonwealth, that they just kind of turn their noses up at, but then Ukraine comes in and they're like, yes, open up your homes and let them in. So I do have conflicting views on the matter. My desire to be a conservative voter is because I believe in unity, and I feel like there's a lot more privileges that are given upon broken families, broken home, on the Labour voters, and I just don't like that precedence. That's my biggest concern. Moving forward as a woman who wants to be in a union and who wants to have privileges for maintaining that. That's where I stand on conservative voting. But to not stray from the point of tonight's issue, Boris is not my biggest fan, but what I don't like is somebody voting no confidence vote at this stage in the process.
Yeah.
I think it's very undertone, very undermining. It's not a good it's not a culture you want to entertain, and you don't want to keep facilitating having a leader not being happy and then saying we're going to vote them out now. I just feel like it's happening too often. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So Rika, I would agree with you. This is not the best time. I understand that.
Yeah.
It's not the best time because I think for the Conservative Party to go through that now, it's just giving the Labour Party and the other parties
more give them
more
a bit
strength.
more
Yeah.
fuel.
Yeah. It's not good. But at the same time, what Boris is doing, you see Boris now then, okay, I'll take all the points. I will agree with you. Boris now then has to do something to gain the confidence of the party. He has to do something. He cannot
Yes.
he cannot just think no. You see, what I'm afraid of right now is that Boris is going to read this to say, okay, well, I'm doing good now. I'm going to just continue doing what I'm doing and even do worse. That probably is giving Boris the signal to do whatever ever else he wants to do. Which, of course, I'm saying again that the old guard that the Conservative Party had, like let's say Michael Heseltine, we've got Kenneth Clark, we've got Jeffrey Howe, we've got Matt Millen, and all of these other guys. I know I'm going way back a bit, but the old guard that was there is no more there. It would seem that the Prime Minister of the day doesn't have those behind him that he needs to be very careful of. We've got weak people in the party.
So someone said, as I expect, Mike just messaged, Boris survives again. He's a super cat with more than 9 political lives, a student of Churchill-style politics. Before we wrap up, I think the big question though is this: what is it that Boris need to do? And listen to this. I know he wants to win. I know we talk about winning over the hearts of the Conservative MPs, but the same Conservative MPs said they had to go to their constituents to hear what their constituents were saying. Some of them were actually saying that. And some of them went further by saying, my constituents trust me. They trust me to make judgment. That is why I am there. So therefore, is it that Boris needs to win over his MPs or win over the nation? What is it that he needs to do? Well, where should that focus be? Winning over the nation? Because he's got a year. He's got a grace. That's the rule.
Yeah, it's a grace for 1 year. I would say it should focus on the nation. The nation will probably have more mercy on that. Just like David said, don't let me fall into the hands of my enemy. I rather fall into the hands of God. So I would rather say, like Gary said, both. But I think his focus should be more on the nation. There are people, we're having more food banks like we've never had before. Yes. There are people who are struggling all over the nation. And then there's this increase of NI and tax and all this. So it needs to focus on the nation. And I would imagine that the nation would probably be more merciful to him than his party. But also, yes, those red ones that he won in 2019, he needs to go and do something in those places too. And that way, I think it would temper things down with some of the MPs, because probably a lot of them got in 2019.
Somebody just said a while ago, that's exactly what Boris is saying right now in an interview on Sky about focusing on the nation. I think that is the key. I think the focus should be on they need to come together and focus on how they can deal with this high rate of inflation. They should focus on how they can deal with the whole, what people are going to, gas, electric. That's what people are talking about.
Absolutely.
But the media, and we know the media, will keep spinning and talking about Partygate. And we're not dismissing, or when I say we, people are not dismissing Partygate. But at the same time, it is so important that when you compare Partygate in comparison to what Boris has led through with the COVID, one has got to give him some level of props. Mark you, he's not a perfect person. I don't think anybody's perfect. Pull your closets. How many skeletons dropping out of your closet? Any skeletons in your closet?
Oh dear.
Michelle Clark said, we can't participate in this because I don't know nothing about the government. She's in America. We're always talking about America. You need to learn about the UK. What happened in the UK today, Michelle, is that Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, there was a vote of no confidence, and he won by, how much he won by? 211 to 148. And he remains with a grace period of 1 year, whereby it can come again like foxes, like hyenas.
I I mean,
Sorry, please, yeah.
I think it's frozen. Is it okay?
No, we're
Sharika,
yeah, we're good.
do you think that Boris can win the next election?
I don't think he can win the next election, but as Sir David said, and I 100% agree with you, is that he should focus on the nation. He already knows he's got enemies in his camp with the MPs. Don't worry about winning over your old enemies. An enemy will be an enemy for life. So let that go, move on, and just know that they were your enemies, and you're happy that you know it, because it's good to know at times. But I think he should focus on the nation. But even with that said, if he was to call an emergency election, I don't think he will win. He will win, but that all depends on who is his opponents and who are the people that are trying to get his job. Do you think he will win, Sir Gary, Reverend Gary?
Well, I don't think so. I think that, you see, what is in his favor, and only in his favor, nothing to do with him, is that I don't think that the country has that confidence in the Labour Party or in Keir Starmer.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Because I tell you, them years back, if they had someone like
Tony Blair.
no
David
Tony
Miliband.
Miliband,
Yeah.
Ed.
if they had Miliband, not his younger brother, the one that's in America now. If they had him, David Miliband,
They're still crying for him.
I think that the Conservative Party would not have a chance. They wouldn't have a chance. But where they fell drastically also is when they voted in
Brother.
who?
His brother, Miliband.
No.
Corbyn.
Who?
Corbyn.
Yeah, they made the biggest mistake on that. Massive mistake. And then what he did, he even entrenched it more. He had the perfect opportunity to bring in the younger people underneath him that would send a massive signal to the country, because you saw the youth. The funny thing about it was that when Corbyn came in, the youth of the country came in under him,
Yes.
They came in under him, but he never read that. What did he do? He filled up his cabinet with old people like himself. So he never sent the right signal out there, Boris, perfect opportunity. He came in, he won it. That was it for him, and he did the Brexit. I don't know. I would straddle the fence, Sir David, with you on that. And I would, if you could take piece of me and then Sharika take another piece, I don't know where I would be on that. Where if it was a good thing for the country to go the Brexit, because I don't even think that Boris had really any clue or any plan on what he was going to do with the Brexit anyway. I think he's finding his way out now. And what compounded the issue is the war. So I don't think anything really has worked politically with in Boris's favor, in as much as where the United Kingdom is really to be placed. I don't know. I can't really say. But I think that Boris, out of all that of the leaders and the MPs that's there, Boris seems to be the most really, he's got free reign of what he wants to do. I don't think there's any leader that's going to challenge him, because even if he's moved out, Sharika, to tell you the truth, and this is where I side with you, if they voted him out today, who, and it's a big W and a small HO, who could really sit in that seat in 10 Downing Street and the country comes in behind the Conservative Party? I don't know if there's any.
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. What about this man?
I don't think so. I don't know.
I think it's someone to watch in the future. It's someone to watch in the future, but I mean, like Sherika said, even if Boris loses the election, it would be a graceful way of exit rather than being pushed out by his party.
Yes.
And I think, whether we like to believe it or not, he might put up a brave face. I think he's been shaken to the core with this one. He has been shaken to the core. And I pray, and my prayer for him is that he will use this period of 1 year to really make an impact on the nation. That's my prayer for him. But I think he's been shaking very, very well. This thing has been going on for more than a year. And even him standing here and still, yeah, you can put up a brave face, but I think in a recent private home, it's not funny to be put under this kind of pressure. It's not funny.
Do you think?
I would love to make a suggestion here, if you don't mind. I think what would really shake him to the core, and I would like to put a name forward that could really shake things up and even lead the country into a brighter future. Sharika.
As long as I have your vote of confidence,
Oh
I can do
yes,
anything
oh
with
yes.
Gary.
You've got my vote. You got my vote.
I can do anything with your vote. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Honestly.
But do you think humility for the past year or so, Boris keep apologizing. I'm sorry. Do you think this level of humility, or we'll see how it unfolds? I've not seen after interview as yet. A couple of persons have been saying he just did an interview. Do you think that it may actually turn out to a healing process within the party, or do you think that guns will keep going at him as well at this time? Do you think
the Conservatives are not putting themselves in good lights? Look what they did to David Cameron. Look what they did to
everybody?
Yeah, they just keep showing themselves as snakes. They keep showing themselves as the kind of party that will like build you up and then throw you off. And that's what I'm not liking with them. They need to show some leverage, some level of support to their leaders. They need to show a level of backing, and that no matter what, we will stand behind them, we will support them, we will let him grow. They're not giving Boris the chance to grow in his role as prime minister without the criticism. They're always criticizing him, rolling their eyes, undermining him, making him seem as if he's the buffoon. If he was the buffoon, he wouldn't be the prime minister. Like, people undermine when you get to the top that you actually are at the top. So I feel the Conservative government needs to get their own set of lashings, because in the past few elections, they're proving to be not quite good team players, actually. And that is really turning me off from them, because if you're going to do that to your leader, you will do that to the people beneath you. If you're going to do that to the people above you, what will you do to the people below you?
That's a great analysis, Sharika. And I just let you know that Rishi Sunak watched the show at times, and Graham Brady watches my show, the 1922 committee. He watches sometimes. So people are listening to you, Sharika, and
all right,
they may get a cue from you as to it may actually damage the Conservative Party more. I believe it has damaged the Conservative Party more, because this is where they are now rounding in all the MPs now and say they are weaklings, all those sort of stuff, instead of falling in line behind Boris. And the reason why I'm happy that he didn't lose is because I believe the best way is to groom someone in.
Agreed.
In.
Not groom, but support and facilitate.
Support a new change of guard, if anything, leading up to the next election. Definitely, I wouldn't like to see the guys like Jeremy Hunt and those guys around. You know what I mean? Those are persons of the past. So that's it, really. You know what I mean? But any last word, guys?
Grace. grace for him for the next 1 year. I mean, and America put it very succinctly. She's put it very right. They shoot themselves in the foot all the time, and they never ever allowing any of their leaders. Sometimes I can't remember the last time, apart from Theresa May, any one of them that actually used 4 years.
Yes.
Yeah, they get rid of you, and this infighting, self-preservation. Yes. Oh, my constituency. It's not about your constituency. You're just afraid that you might just lose the election. You're just afraid that you might not come back as an MP. That's all. But they're not supporting. They don't support one another, and that in itself is one very horrible part of the conservative. I mean, I said I was going to just light up my membership card and just light it in fire, put it on there, send it to Brandy and the rest of them.
Well, guys, let me just invite Mike Crickets. Mike, how are you doing, sir? Thank you for joining
us. Oh, yes, I'm very well, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I've just come in from some meetings, so I'm just catching up on the latest news.
You went voting.
No, there's a few steps before I can get to that stage, Silver. Oh, dear. Great.
What's your take on it, Sir Mike?
Well, as I alluded to when I sent you a message earlier on, I said that Boris. My name for him is Teflon Boris because he nothing really sticks with him. He seems to manage to ride out all the challenges his way. He's been a politician for a long time. He was mayor of London twice. And he's probably what you call a political cat, which has 9 lives, and he's probably, I don't know how many issues he's had to deal with over the years, but he's just, he now knows who his team are. That's probably the biggest thing that he's gained from this is, it's very interesting when you're in a position of power, you don't really know who the team are until you face some sort of adverse situation. Wow. Where you really have to find out. And we've probably all had this in our lives where we've been up against it and we've really been quite surprised about who stood up for us and supported us. I've learned many lessons that way. And I think Boris has definitely seen who's on his side, I think, because, what's happened has happened. We all know that it was wrong. Whether it was something that he would resign for is a matter of opinion. I think politics has changed over the years, and maybe 20 years ago he would be gone. But the world is such a small place now because you've got social media. Everybody's little nose pick or thing is seen in bright lights these days, so you can't really. I remember listening to Ronaldo and he said it's very difficult being in the public eye because if you pick your nose, it's on the front page. Somebody's bound to find it and see it. So
well, the wife of the Governor General of Jamaica was at the Jubilee celebration, and she was asleep, and she's all over the papers.
Oh dear!
I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah. So that doesn't surprise me at all. You see, and that will be, something that will plague her for quite some time. So you've really got to be on your game in the public eye and in politics in general. So. Let's see. He will bounce back from this. He learnt lessons from elections as well. Resulting in that surprise landslide victory when people thought everything was down and out. So it's there's parts of his character. obviously annoying. But you've got to admire the guy. He's like, he takes anything and keeps going. And, I suppose time will tell whether it's what we deserve,
There's two things that Mike said that I want to pick up on, guys. And Mike said, one thing Mike said was, you get to know your enemies in trials, and you get to know your friends in trials. And you said also something else, Mike, about that. This time again, he will, I think you say, will do things better or whatever like that. But can we just pick up what are the key persons that you see as Boris great champions at this time that will get anything from him? I see what's his name, Dominic Raab, as one of a strong supporters.
Yeah. Good supporter.
Well, they're just better players as well. They're not just, it's not that they're the friends or the enemies, because you still don't know your enemies either way. I just think that they're smarter players in the game. This is all about how you maneuver through your work environment. And the ones that show their cards are not clever players. And I do believe that because they're not clever players, they should be sacked. If I'm running a government and I can see that my
Gary, she's gonna be the one. We're gonna put Sharika first.
I think they should lose their job. Honestly, you should be better players, especially in the game of politics, in the game of, in the game of ruling the country. You do not show your cards. You do not show that you're going to put your guns down and go against your leader. You are not supposed to be on the team fighting for the land. I believe that if you're going to show your cards to the enemies, which is, the opposition, that look, we don't support our own government. This, I said this to you earlier, Silver, that I think this should be treason. Really, you shouldn't.
You said off with their heads.
I do think that you shouldn't be allowed to vote against the prime minister unless he's killed a couple of thousands of people or something. You should wait it out, endure what it is for what it is, and then vote somebody else in. You shouldn't be able to kick them off I think that is an act that I don't say.
Sharika?
We lost your voice there.
Prime Minister.
I don't think it was bleeped out. Yeah.
Prime Minister Sharika.
Can you hear us? Can she hear us? Can you hear us, Sharika? Yeah. I think
sorry, Mike. Yeah,
a very good friend of mine, a sort of political analyst. His name is John Mappin. You may have heard of him. And he wrote something today on a group chat. These are called Truth Seekers United. And he wrote a piece about how to deal with power. And, if you're near to somebody in power, you support them. You accept the power that they give you, so you take that with trust and honor, and you use that power well. But if your leader, if you're in a business and your chief executive is providing jobs and pushing things out there, breaking the boundaries and making business happen, and somebody comes up to you and starts bad-mouthing your chief executive officer, do you defend him first, or do you go with the accuser? Because if you do, people will be out of jobs because, you diminish that power, and there will be employment issues because people will be getting the sack. And lots of that will start to happen. So, I think the lesson, if you bite the hand that feeds you, it's never a good thing. Okay, it's better to sit round and sort it out behind closed doors and say, look, we've got a problem here. How are we going to deal with it? How best can we do with this as a party? The next election. Because some would argue that there isn't an opposition that is worthy of running the country. So, you know, it's kind of like you don't want to put yourself in a position where is the best of a bad lot. You really want
Yes.
to have a little bit more. So, you know, they shouldn't be in power just because the opposition is bad. They should be on merit, and they should do the things that will actually help to make this country a great place.
You know, someone just said, Melanie Robinson, we need a leader we can trust, not someone who is confident lying to the community, especially concerning the pandemic. Many of us lost loved ones, had to comply. So really, there's no excuse. Do you think the party gate is now on the what do you call it, under the belt? What's the term they call it? Is there a line?
Water under the bridge?
Yeah, or is there a line now drawn with the party gate? Do you think so?
Not until we get the result for Kestama. It will still be on.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, ever since I was a child, I used to hear my parents say you can't trust politicians, and nothing really has changed in that respect.
Yeah.
Now, there are clearly good people in Parliament.
Yes.
You know, I've met many of them, but it's always the few that spoil it for the many. But it seems that in politics, it's about keeping your position and how much you'll sell your soul to the devil in order to do that. You know, I don't think politics is based on honor. It's based on, you know, like shuffling and making deals and compromises. It's never about what really is the right thing to do. It's about what will get you your seat or your position in power. The integrity is kind of messed up a bit, and something like Partygate is just another one of those things. Really, it's just the fact that it's one of those things that you can really expose, and you can use it a lot on the media. It's a great one, you know, because obviously people lost loved ones during the COVID period, and they lost them. You know, I personally had funerals that were limited, that, you know, we would have loved to have had other people there, but you couldn't, you know, and whether that was right or wrong, anyway, as a policy, you know, we would never know. But I think the thing is that it's over, isn't it? It's over. We've got so many bigger things happening now.
Okay, before I go now, someone on Instagram said politics do not work like this analogy, Mike. I think he was referring to something you said earlier. Boris has an ounce of integrity, he would resign. I'll put the question to each one of you. David, do you see Boris resigning soon?
No. I think he's made that very absolutely clear that he's not going to resign. And I don't think he should. I think we spoke about this earlier on. There should be a better way for him to exit, and that's getting the next person, you know, being ushered in one way or the other. But I don't think he should resign.
Okay, so you believe additional process.
Absolutely.
Okay. Gary, what's your take, sir?
I will agree with David. I think for him to resign, it's going to be a kick in the teeth to the Conservative Party.
Yeah.
He's basically going to be saying, "You can't push me, but I'm gonna go myself." And I think it will be an indictment. It'll do more damage to the Conservative Party if Boris should do that right now.
Yeah.
Just continue doing what you're doing, and try, as Sarika and David have said in the past, just try and appeal to the country. Just appeal to the country, work for the country. Because the country, they're struggling. It's been said. I mean, the standard of living is going through the roof. People are not able to pay their bills. Then They're now having to face another hike in energy prices in October. Now is not the time, really. Again, I would agree, it's not the time. I
You know,
mean,
yeah.
fuel. I wouldn't be surprised if by December, yeah, petrol and diesel is 190. It's just going through the roof.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I
so
agree.
Boris
Yeah.
has an uphill struggle right now because I said it to you last week, and I think even privately, Silborn,
Mm.
that every country in this world, on this globe right now, they're having to address
Mm.
standard of living. Now, I can't see England, I cannot see Boris Johnson, right, making everybody comfortable, everything
Mm.
going back down, and other countries like the United States, they're gonna struggle. Europe is struggling. He has
Yeah.
an uphill battle. I don't know how he's gonna do it. To tell you the truth, I can't see any way out.
You know,
Not unless the war ceases and things go
mm.
back to some kind of normality. But there's
Yeah.
no way. He's got to calm the nerves of the
Yeah.
country, of the electorate. He's got to calm the nerves of the electorate. And my heart goes out to him. But
I was in the car the other day. I had an MP in my car the other day, and we're talking, and she's Labour, and she was saying, I said, but don't you think we need to get rid of Boris? And I kept saying, I think what really is needed for this country, needed, not want, needed for this country, is all parties to work together, come together to sort out this high rate of inflation. It is for leaders at this time to come together to sort out how they can deal with Ukraine. It's for leaders to work together. Take the high road. I know many people don't like that because many people are focusing on the ministerial code and all those sort of things. But each step of the way, and we can agree to this, the Prime Minister abided by all the different rules. He said, let Sue Gray come report, let the police do their bit. So he wasn't in a position whereby he had to go. It's a choice that he has to make. And can we find, is there anything that one can say is inspirational about Boris Johnson? The gravitas, the going, keep going. I mean, I always find something positive in everything. It might sound hypocritical to a certain extent, but I believe I can see some positive with the underdog factor. But Sharika, I put it to you now. Do you think Boris is going to go by the end of the year or soon?
I would like to echo what Sir David said. It's best to have that transitional period, and also Reverend Gary, you mentioned it as well. I think they need to kind of show some kind of unity within the Conservative party, where they don't push their MPs, their members of Parliament, now they don't kind
Show
of
them some dogs.
yeah, they don't do that to their leaders. I really
Yeah.
feel there needs to be some level of rebranding with Conservative Party. So no, I do feel there should be some level of transition, and that is an example to any kind of leadership role. You should
Right.
be in a position, serve your time, give somebody else the baton, and then let them serve their time. You don't get pushed out, you don't get thrown out, and that says a lot about the party themselves. In regards to what you said, Silver, about everybody working together, I like your fantasy. It's a very good fantasy that you have there. So thank you for sharing it with us. But a fantasy is a fantasy, and one can only dream. And if it does become a situation where everyone sits around the table and kumbaya, then it wouldn't be politics. Politics is a little bit cutthroat, a little bit I'm the best man for the job, and it kind of needs to stay that way. Otherwise, we wouldn't get people to think out of the box.
Yes.
We wouldn't get people to think strategically. We wouldn't get them to look at the problems that exist and try to find solutions in the best way. Because if we do have a kumbaya level of government, then everyone go, yeah, that's a great idea. Oh yeah, I think you're right. Where there wouldn't be a level of thought process in how you can be innovative in kind of solving problems.
So therefore, on that basis, if I was Boris and I was listening to what you said, I'll go all the way. No resigning.
Good.
Nothing.
Don't
Cut throat.
resign.
big time.
Call an election if you really feel overwhelmed. Call an election. Let people put their hats in the ring. Give them the baton. Whoever wins it from the people, that's the best way out. Just call an election, but do not resign.
Yeah. And final word from Mike. What do you say? Should he go or should he?
Yeah, I agree. I think I agree with everything that's been said. Actually, I think Boris, he wrote a book about Winston Churchill. He's studied Churchill. Boris is going to go the same way. I think he's just going to keep going. He's made it to prime minister. Where are you going to go? I think he's just going to keep going, and he's shown that he's got the resolve to do that, and he's got the willingness to, change course, listen to people. He's not completely stubborn. He does listen to what's going on because he has ambitions. He has personal ambitions, and I'm sure he wants to be a long-serving prime minister.
Yes. Well, somebody just said what is inspirational about him is that he's resilient, something which is vitally important in leadership.
Absolutely.
That's what someone said. Marlon Barkley. Well, ladies and gentlemen, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining for the quick impromptu discussion. At least I know I got the team, because some people say, "Oh, you got to give me 24 hours." I said, "No, this is not a 24-hour notice thing, man. You got to move fast, man. We need." I'm seriously. I need people that can move fast on these things. We got to move fast, man. Got to get right to the program. Can't just let CNN and Nick Ferrari and all those guys stealing the thunder. We got to let us steal the thunder.
People on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said, I don't think he listens, Sharika. Somebody said that. That's the beauty about diverse views, So listen, thank you, guys. I guess Thursday night we're back again. We'll see if I guess we're all going to be glued to the TV now to see what's the feedback from everybody. But at least we can say we got it first here.
Yeah.
Have a good night, guys.
Yeah,
have a good night, everyone.
Lovely to see you all.
Take care. God bless.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining tonight on the late one. As we discuss the results with Boris Johnson. Thank you to my guests, Gary Graham, Reverend David Adewale, Sharika, and Mike Crickets. And, we had a good discussion tonight. Gary, thank you so much, buddy. The dream didn't come true, but we'll come back again, Gary, Thursday night, and we'll sort of see what happens as well. All right. Okay. Peace out. Thank you, sir. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be on Thursday night, and remember to like and share. Tonight I was on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and also TikTok. I met some people on TikTok who co-hosted with me over there. That's very interesting. Young people, good. Getting everybody involved. They weren't happy that Boris won the confidence vote, but hey, what can I say? That is politics. Have a good night. God bless you. Peace out. Michelle and Marlon Barkley and those on YouTube and Facebook, have a good night. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.